So this is the iPhone 7, which was a pretty controversial release back in 2017, was actually the best iPhone in terms of design. So let's see how does the iPhone 7 still hold up 7 years later. So as always, first of all, we are going to be taking a look at the specs. The iPhone 7 featured a A10 processor, 2GB of RAM, either 32, 128, or on some special editions, there were 256GB of internal storage. So me personally, I always struggle with iPhone storage as it was only 32GB and that was not enough for me. So yeah, make sure you buy the appropriate amount of storage that you actually needed. Also weighted at 138 grams, which actually is pretty light considering how heavy the new models have been. And of course, the size of the 4.7 inch screen is small. As always, the screen and battery life get their own separate sections later on. But for the raw specs, that's pretty much it. Now usually I don't tend to focus on the specs in my iPhone reviews. I mean, a lot of things are optimized in the OS itself. So historically, I never found specs to be that all important on an iPhone. However, it's worth noting that 2GB of RAM certainly isn't very much. And if you go for the lowest option of storage, which is 32GB, I'm sure you'll struggle a lot. And if you like playing games, this might be a serious issue. So up next is the build quality. So the iPhone 7 was the only phone which I primarily used for more than 3 years, and because of the aluminum back, it was so strong and so useful. Well, the iPhone 7 is built out of 7000 series aluminum, which basically means that's super durable and does not make the phone feel cheap at all. But if you have the black color or the jet black color just like me, you'll see a lot of scratches and color chipping off from there. So do bear in mind while choosing your iPhone color, just think twice about the black color and the chipping off. But no issues, you can just put a cover on that. Now the screen is obviously glass, so do bear in mind that it will break at a point. My personal device ended up breaking 2 to 3 times. However, it was most likely due to a faulty screen protector. Besides that, I haven't had any issues. Nevertheless, I would recommend you to use a case and a good screen protector. Another area of good build quality is the camera lens. Now despite being a pretty camera lens, I have never really had an issue with scratching, whether it's due to the coating that Apple uses or not. All I know that it works great on the iPhone 7. The iPhone 7 also features an IP67 water resistance rating, means that you can survive a meter up to 30 minutes. And in the time of using this iPhone 7, it worked pretty great. As always, I would recommend you not to take your phone close to water or underwater, as your phone is water resistant, not waterproof. Overall, it's still pretty impressive with the build quality of the iPhone 7, even in 2022. In terms of screen, how does it still perform? The iPhone 7 features a 4.7 inch screen with a resolution of 750 by 1334 with a peak brightness of 603 nits. And well, this may not seem impressive, especially for 2022. I found it to be totally usable in bright days, and while it does lack the features like True Tone, which some of you may know, it is one of my favorite features on the modern iPhone, but nonetheless, it is still an enjoyable experience. It also features 3D touch, which to this day I still prefer over the modern haptic touch technology that we find on the newer iPhones. Seriously, there's just something awesome about being able to firm press on the screen and unlocking a secondary interactive panel, which is called a pop-up menu, where you can view your URLs, your likes, your posts just by pressing firmly and with a pop-up. And once you start using it, I'm sure you'll prefer the 3D touch compared to haptic touch. Overall, the screen is certainly an area where it starts to show its age. The lack of resolution and brightness may have an issue for some higher end users. However, for most of the people, I really think that's not much as an issue. I mean, I certainly had no issues using the iPhone 7 screen, but it might be an issue for you. But if you just want a screen that looks great and you can use it pretty much in any lighting condition, the iPhone 7 does just fine. Up next, we are going to be taking a look at the button placement, including the main unlock method for the phone, which just happens to be Touch ID. Honestly, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The iPhone 7 was probably one of the best iPhone to have in button placement layout. One of them removed the volume button indent, creating 2 freestanding volume buttons that are easy to press and light and tactile. The lock button isolation and the mute switch, one of my favorite features about iPhones. By the way, of course, this iPhone is awesome. I just found the design to overall make sense. I would just say it's probably one of the most interactive button layouts I could think of the very few button combinations, unlike the iPhone 10 models, meaning less mispressing and of course no accidental screenshots. The home button on the phone is a force touch home button. And while this does make the phone looks kind of new dated, I personally don't mind unlocking the phone as snappy, as overall in terms of wearing a mask, it does make unlocking the phone significantly easier, than with a Face ID. It's also great if you want to unlock your phone without looking at it, and if you prefer Touch ID system, then the iPhone 7 is pretty much good as you can get. The camera is also another area where the iPhone 7 starts to show its age. But all the things considered, it actually works pretty great. I mean, sure, it's a step down from the dual camera system that I preferred while using my iPhone 11. I found the snaps to be in a good level with much dynamic range and with plenty of saturation. I've taken the photos on the iPhone 7 and set it as my wallpaper, and till date I'm using it on my current iPhone. In my time of using this, honestly, if you just want to take some casual snap with one focal length, then the iPhone 7 could be pretty much good and enjoyable. So that being said, there's no light mode as it was introduced on the iPhone 11, so low light will be limited, at least compared to the newer options. But as I said, in my time of using this phone takes good pictures in low light as well. Another thing that is missing, of course, is portrait mode. To be honest, I actually miss this feature more than the night mode. When using this phone, it's nice to be able to take some pictures with some nice blurry background. Overall, I think the average person who just wants to click some few snaps of holidays of social media on the iPhone 7, the camera will be totally fine. And if you just want to take some cool pictures for some Instagram and thing, I guess half of my feed is shot on the iPhone 7 itself. And the iPhone 7 has no complaints about the quality. The iPhone 7 camera still misses out on a lot of latest tech, but it's still usable. Still, it takes nice pictures, which at least end of the day is much more important. The iPhone 7 can shoot 4K up to 30 frames, which again is a downgrade from mine 60 frames, because I'm able to slow it down to 24 frames and get a nice smooth semi-slow motion clip while maintaining the fairly natural dynamic range. In the video mode, it's certainly not so good as in photo mode or in any other newer iPhones. But again, I still think for some casual videos, the 4K on the iPhone 7 is pretty damn good, especially considering its age. The iPhone 7 is 7 years old but still hold up till date, and the iPhone 7 can shoot slow motion at 1080 at 120 frames and 240 frames at 720. Honestly, well, it's good to have ultra slow motion video. I personally recommend you just stick into the 120 frames. There is a significant difference between quality when you switch to 120 frames and 240 frames versus photo. It misses out on higher resolution, higher frame rate, of course, more dynamic range when compared to photo mode. But as I said, as a casual user who just wants to take some casual videos, the iPhone 7 is totally fine. However, what about the front facing camera? Well, there is a 7 megapixel f2.2 camera that will take selfies, and to be honest, it's absolutely fine. The front facing camera also takes videos, and compared to a newer iPhone, it works pretty good with 1080p 30 frames. And if you just want to take some front facing videos with the iPhone 7, I'll just recommend you just flip the phone camera and shoot with the rear camera. I'm sure you'll get much better quality and much better dynamic range. Up next, we have probably the most important aspect of modern phones, the performance. Well, obviously it's an iPhone, so it's going to be running iOS. And despite the phone being released back in 2016, it is still supported by Apple. The iPhone 7 I have is running iOS 15 and it still runs like a charm, which is pretty awesome to be honest. The operating system feels nice and smooth. Stock apps work well. I've had a few issues with the OS performance of the phone. In terms of third-party apps performance, I found iPhone 7 to be pretty damn good considering its age, as you can easily use this phone to consume media apps like YouTube, Twitter, and even run some casual games. When it comes to more intensive apps though, it's certainly not good as modern smartphone experience. But as I've said before, everything runs pretty well on the iPhone 7 considering its age. However, how long will it actually last? Well, the iPhone 7 was released back in September 2016, and as iPhone typically get 5 years of software updates, but this phone got 6 years of software updates. So with the launch of iOS 16, this iPhone is no longer supported with the newer iOS updates. That means iOS 15 is the last version for this iPhone 7. So just think twice before you buy an iPhone 7. Heading back to the hardware side of things, we are going to be taking a look at the speakers. The iPhone 7 was actually the first iPhone to feature the stereo speakers mode, which utilizes both the top and bottom speakers to create a more immersive sound experience from watching videos or listening music on your phone. And I know that certainly there was an issue of the speakers being off, but later with some software updates it was fixed. So it works pretty great till date. And if we have to describe the speaker quality of the iPhone 7, it would be not very bassy, a little bit muddy, not too loud, but still good enough for some casual music listening or watching videos. So make sure you just subscribe to see my videos, okay? Okay, so now we are going to be talking about usually a pretty big con on older phones. The iPhone 7 has a 1960 mAh battery, which really isn't that very big for 2022. And I found it throughout my personal usage. So if you're a hardcore user just like me, I'm sure you'll have to plug your phone 3 to 4 times a day. And if you're just a casual user, I'm sure you'll just have to plug your phone at least in the afternoon. However, if you're thinking to carry a charger or a power bank along with you, I'm sure this phone will not last you for more than 5 hours. So considering all these things, do I recommend you buying the iPhone 7 in 2022? Well, it's a big no. Well, if you're someone like me who loves the latest tech, probably it's not the one for you. But I do still think there is a place for the iPhone 7 in 2022, especially for either an introduction to the iOS operating system or some casual iPhone usage, just like clicking some casual photos and all. So if you personally ask me, I would just say don't buy the iPhone 7. You can just get a old iPhone 8 for the time being. Later you can just upgrade to an iPhone 11 for used. You can just get it for 25,000 or something. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe. And do let me know in the comments down below if you used an iPhone, for how long did you use it? Do you currently use an iPhone? Are you watching this on iPhone 7? So yeah, do feel free to write them down in the comment section. No one writes your comments, so please do comment also and subscribe. And if you want to see some iPhone videos, just click here. And if you want to see some Apple Watch videos, click here. And I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye bye.